Alright, so before I really go into how to make a rev hybrid, how to reverse shoot anything and all that, I'm just going to quickly explain why I haven't done like any of those how-to Canon tutorials. The main reason is just, how do I explain this? Main reason is just because I stutter a lot when I make these like videos or whatever. I don't even know why I make them. I just have nothing better to do, I guess. And I guess I kind of wanted to show off what basically make my work, I guess, kind of thing. So that's kind of why. I mean, I stutter a lot. And I mean, like the episode 4 was like meant to be like the first time stacking. I was gonna do like a 40 stacker, and it turned up to be like an hour long, and most of it was just me like correcting myself when I would say something, because it'd be like I would like stutter a lot, and I was like, not worth putting like an hour of that there. And I really didn't want to just put like go through Vegas and cut it down entirely. It would have been quicker to make like a second one, and I felt like if I made a second one, it would have happened again. There might have been some interruption, and then I ended up, it's like, oh, okay, I'll make a second one, whatever. Um, Brother came in the room, blah, blah, blah. Like halfway through, I was like, God damn, I didn't really, instead of hitting the pause on OBS, what I did is I accidentally stopped recording and made 2 clips, and then I realized, like, I don't really feel like putting 2 clips together in Vegas and then finding it and all that, so couldn't be bothered. So, I mean, that's that. Um, Anyways, this is going to be how to rev hybrid. It's really simple, and I'm also going to show off how dry revving works as well for people who don't understand that. Um, Basically, you have 2 sets of TNT here at a wall, or at a backboard, I guess, when you're revving, basically reverse shooting anything. When you reverse shoot, you have your rev TNT over here, which when this explodes, it gives you TNT that's up here, which is going to be above it. It doesn't have to be like a full this much above. It doesn't have to be like multiple blocks above. It can be like minimal difference. It could be like it could be like this much above. Like you can like have it that much above even, and it can still upshoot. So what happens is this TNT here gives this TNT a bunch of velocity because this here explodes. All of this and the stack here explodes, which gives it a bunch of upwards momentum, and that all of the projectiles here could be hammer, sand, nuke, TNT, subus, anything really, like even like a scatter, all of that can be. It would go from this and it would shoot up into here because it would have a bunch of upwards velocity. So that's basically the gist of it. Now it's really simple, and I'm just gonna use minimal or multi TNT. To show off like a, let's see, I'm going to use that to show off like how it works. Obviously, at the end of this, I am going to show off a rev that I made, I think 2 months ago or something, because I was going to use it for rating, blah, blah, blah. I'll show that off as well to show like a actual full cannon with like a reverse hybrid on it as well, so you can see like more of a actual cannon with it, see like all the parts of the cannon and everything and all the things that you need in it, so you don't just leave off with this with like no visual idea of what something should look like. So I'm just gonna quickly do it. So I'm just gonna do about 30 TNT for my rev TNT right here, and I'm just gonna make this a dry rev real quickly. And this is my rev TNT. This is gonna be my right there is gonna be the TNT that I'm shooting upward. And this is going to be my power right here. So I'm going to have my power go off, I'm going to have this go off, and then I'm going to have this go off right here. So that's that, and this should work if I even lined it up correctly. So as you see right there, it went up perfectly fine. I mean, I have a lot of TNT, so you can see it really easily, so I guess I can... I'll just change this from 30 to like 4 TNT, so you can hopefully see like it visually instead. Yeah, so you can see it slide up a little bit from having the upwards momentum. So that's basically how that works. And now I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna show off what a rev hybrid would look like. So basically, here I'll do like 30 sand or something. So I'll just do 30 rev TNT as well. So now I'm going to show off what it would look like if I was doing a Rev hybrid like this. Now, because I'm using multi-TNT, I can really quickly show off the concept and how it works entirely. So that's the nice thing about this. So I'm just going to do that, and then I will put this game tick after. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can count, I swear. Here, I'll put sand in right here. So basically now I have my Rev TNT, my sand, my hammer, and my power. So I'll just fire it really quickly and show that this is gonna stack. Alright, so it stacked perfectly fine, and now some people are gonna be confused why it stacks with no difference, because the hammer and sand are gonna be in one block. Well, most Rev hybrids that you see nowadays actually order of entity stack, and the way that works is for the ordering of the cannon, you can see that I have this dispenser here before this one because of the repeater and comparator, similar to how you have your hammer and slab bust, how you'd have your on the same timing. Your slab bust would be on the comparator and hammer and repeater. It's similar to that, basically, except obviously this is sands, so it's gonna be different because, well, you use pistons to push or retract to turn sand into an entity. So the way we have around them, obviously, is, you have to do that to get around it. But pretty much you can see that this is on the same tick, and then right here, which would be my hammer, it's a next game tick. So I like to put my sand a game tick before my hammer, usually. Depending on what I'm doing with the Rev, I'm saving a lot of Rev TNT or whatever. And that's only if I'm order of entity stacking with the Rev hybrid. So what happens is, because of the ordering, the order that I have is I have the Rev, then the sand, then the hammer. So there would be like my order of entities for this Rev hybrid right here. It's not even really hybriding because I didn't really add one-shot send or anything. But what happens is, once the TNT is up here, right? What happens is the sand moves slightly down. It moves before the hammer does, because it's for order of entities. I mean, in the order, it's Rev, sand, hammer. So in a tick, the Rev is gonna move, then the sand is gonna move, and the hammer. But the Rev's not existent anymore, as it already exploded. So now all I have left is my sand and my hammer, right? So what happens is, I'll have these two things up here. My sand moves down slightly, but my hammer is still entirely up here. So this all explodes, and then the sand and since the sand's already down, the next tick, since it already moved in this tick, right? The next tick, it has all of its velocity, and then just stacks up from that because of all the velocity it has, and because it was already slightly below the hammer, that it allowed it to go fully downward and stack because of the order. You can do this with 255s as well for like 1 powers, but the issue, obviously, you're not going to nuke on that like reliably and all that. So that's the thing about this. Now, for a Rev hybrid nuke, which I might pause the video and quickly make a setup for, and then should I do it? I don't know. But the way that would work is I would have a power here. So I would have a power. Obviously, I'd have my other power, so I would have multiple powers, and what would happen is I would shoot it towards this wall right here. So, like right here, I would shoot this. I would have my first shot, for example. So I'll just show off with like 3 powers or something. So say I have like, so say I have 3 powers, right? And, well, okay, so why am I using 3 powers? Well, the reason why is because I need to be able to shoot out my Rev, my sand, and my hammer to be, if I want to keep them in the same exact, like, spots when I'm doing it, similar to how you do it with a parafusion. What I'm doing is I'm shooting them all out different times like a parafusion, and I have it all shot separately. so that I can get a difference and shoot my sand and hammer up at different times. So what happens is I'll have my Rev TNT will get here first. Then my sand is going to be here. Yellow. So I'll have my sand here, and then that will be shot up. So this will get shot up, and then after that gets shot up, then my hammer is here. And since this already pretty much hit the guider, since my sand, so now my sand hit this right here, the top of the rev layer or whatever, or the bottom of the rev layer. My sand hit that. Then, when my rev goes off a second time, since I pulse it twice, what's happening is that's shooting up the hammer. But because the sand's already up here, when that in the next tick, the sand's going to move down and the hammer's going to be moving up. So now I have a difference here, and I can just stack like this. So now I have my Y difference in my hammer and my sand. So I can just have my hammer explode entirely, and then have my sand fully stack, and then I can just nuke normally with normal order of entities. So I don't have to do any like a mess of anything. No need for, I don't need a sand comp or whatever. So basically, I mean, that's that. I don't feel like setting up an example because I can just show a cannon fully with it, so I don't feel like showing a multi-TNT example of that. So right here, we have, don't ignore this part right here. This is a one stacker part of it. That's the one stacker part of the cannon, right? So you don't have to look at this. So right here, I have my powers. So I have all my powers here. I'm using 3 powers. First, obviously, Rev, then my sand, then my hammer. I did redo this cannon a bit after, but it's good at least to show an example. I'm triple pulsing the powers. You can see right here. First pulse, second pulse, third pulse right here. And you can see, I believe, yeah, so this is the Rev TNT right here. And you can see the difference between each and every single one. So I have Rev TNT here to shoot up my sand, and I have Rev TNT here to shoot up my hammer. Right here is extra TNT to shoot up my hammer. But so now, so that's that. Obviously, right here is my hammer, and I just have my nuke hammer just under it, and that works perfectly fine. So I can just have my nuke hammer under it. So just because it's like normal, and right here would be my nuke. So now that's completely normal. So basically, I mean, it's pretty simple. So now the way that you can have it so that you have your rev exploding before your hammer is at the wall is either you have it only reverse hybrid or reverse shoot when it's further out. So you can make it so the cannon only will work when it's further out, just like this does. Because if I use this right here, right next to the cannon, it's not going to work because it's not meant, and it's not set up in a way for it to work. So it's not set up to work like that. It's set up to work at further ranges because I have like 4 ticks after my power, after my like sand power is like the Rev TNT is going off. So obviously, if it was right next to the cannon, the hammer would also be like right next to it, or right on like with the sand when it shoots up. So I can't do it there. So I only have this cannon aimed to work at further out ranges, but that's that. But I mean, you can also just have your Rev TNT go off really early, or within 2 ticks of whatever, because you're like double pulsing, 2 ticks between powers. So yeah, you can just, I mean, it's easier to do it like that, I guess, but if you really want to. But I mean, besides that, there's not much else to it. If you have any questions, you can DM me. I'm not releasing this Rev, as I can't be asked to take a scam of it right now. But I mean, if I do get enough requests for it to release the scam of it, I guess I can. But I probably won't be releasing or showing off how to use it because I can't be bothered. I mean, that's that. So if anybody has questions, make it take it in my Discord. I have DMs off. And yeah, that's it.